the experience of reality. As long as you haven't directly experienced that that's not the time, that's the truth, won't have that energy, that burning, that incentive, that continuous force that's needed to work terribly on themselves in these modern times. The aspirants are lukewarm, do not work upon themselves continuously, ardently. This is due precisely to the concrete fact that they have never really experienced that which is beyond the body, the affections, and the mind, that is the truth. It is not possible to have an incentive for continuous work on itself, if you haven't previously experienced the real thing. That which one feels in the depths of his own being is the only thing that can directly experience what is not of time. That's on this side of the river by here in the Samsara valley, that's what suffers. What is on the other side of the river is that which is not of the time. That's it, and you don't know. The being of being is beyond the self, in the garden of love, in that which is not at the time. The being of being is far from the body, the affections, and the mind. We, the brothers of service, suffer a great deal for these poor humanoids who live in this valley of bitterness. We want to take them across the river. Only the transformation core, the Nirmanakaya, can prepare us for the continuous experience of that is not at the time. Nirmanakaya's body is received when one renounces nirvana out of love for humanity. More you have to create them in the ninth sphere, you know that. Nirmanakaya's body is possessed only by the bodhisattvas of compassion, those who gave up happiness for the love of mourning humanity. Just Nirmanakaya's body or transformation body makes us able to continually experience what is effective. Many will understand these lines with the intellect, more are not aware of these teachings because they have not experienced them directly. These people don't know it's the truth because they haven't seen it, because they haven't experienced, because they are not aware of it. Truth is the unknown of instant in instant. Truth is what's always new. Truth is timeless. What one feels in his heart, the pain at a given moment afflicts him, has its root in time. On the other side of the river is always what has nothing to do with time. Fullness, real, authentic happiness is located across the river. Families arise in time. They are lost in time, they are always subjective, unconscious, and suffer a lot. Human groups appear and disappear in time, they are dead who live. Those shadows of the past are ghosts, weeping in that through the alley of the present are projected into the future. Shadows of yesterday projecting in the future through the alley of the present. Among these shadows of time, there are many conflicts. Subjective conflicts of crying groups, you know that. Poor unconscious beings who appear and disappear like ghosts in time. What is behind ourselves inside the interior is the Ser. Only the being of being can directly experience truth. I'm on this side of the river myself. The Ser is on the other side of the river. Myself, it is what nothing is worth, perishable. Ser is the enduring that is always new. Myself is the complicated, unconscious and painful. Ser is the simple, happy and conscious. I myself is a knot that must be untied. Ser is a perfect plenitude. The various painful circumstances of life could never exist beyond the time. Feeling one what one must feel, what no one understands, what is ignoring the one who feels, what that it's not worth feeling, it's actually being awake. Behind the feeling that one considers so real, there is another feeling that people do not understand. Beyond the light, there is the light of light. Beyond intelligence, there is intelligence. Beyond fire, there is the fire of fire. Only the highest degree of Prajparamita intuition can experience directly what is called Sunyata. All bodhisattva possessing the glorious body of Nirmanakaya has experienced sometimes directly the illuminating vacuum, the Sunyata. More than enlightening. Vitality. Far beyond the illuminating vacuum and the machinery of relativity, there is tality. This is the totality. The illuminating vacuum is the size hall. Whoever experiences the illuminating void, if he does not return in terror, enters the tality. The terrified mystic returns to the illuminating void when it has never passed Buddhist iniquilation. In the ocean of uncreated light, the not to be is the real to be. It's really what you think you're not. To be something you think you're not is to be really. If all things are reduced to the unit to which it is reduced, unquestionably the unit is reduced to all things. To say this emphatically, it's easy to do. To understand it is a little harder, more not impossible. To feel it, to experience it directly, To experience it is almost impossible. Those who have ever gone through such mystical experience know what the vacuum lighting. Only those, the few, know directly that which is beyond the body, the affections and mind, that is truth. Intellectually affirm that we are the tree, the flying bird, the fish, the sun, it's very easy. Identify ourselves with the tree, with the bird, with the fish, with the sun, with the suns, in a state ecstasy and then feel like all that. It's very simple and within reach of any enlightened mystic. It's very simple. To really be the tree, the bird, the fish, the sun, the suns, it is almost impossible. It is Sunyata, the experience of the illuminating vacuum. To understand our readers, we will say that one thing is to identify with the tree and another very different being the tree. In Sunyata direct experience of the illuminating void, it is really the tree, the bird, the fish, the sun, the suns, the world, the worlds, everything it is, it has been and will be. When you have ego, the essence returns as the Aladdin lamp to the bottle, inside the ego. Thus the Sunyata, the mystical experience of the real, is lost. It is precisely in Sunyata that you directly experience that it is the truth. The essence in Sunyata moves freely in the illuminating vacuum. The drop is immersed in the ocean of that no one understands, what is really never understood by those who live in time. That experience's essence terrorizes the ego. Being everything and not being someone is appalling to those who retreat into Buddhist annihilation. The authentic happiness of being horrifies the ego. In Sunyata there is an element that radically transforms. Who has ever experienced Sunyata will work intensively on themselves himself, without ever fainting. In the illuminating vacuum you feel what you can never express with words. What you feel in the ser causes pain to the ego. Ser and ego are incompatible. They are like water and oil, can never be mixed. In Sunyata the drop is diluted more and more between the great ocean. Extends terribly. Where will he take us? Howl the hurricane between the gorges of the mountains, the sea lashes the beach, the earth shudders in its intimacies. All of these are but transient incidents, slight vibrations that are loose between that which is beyond the body, the affections, and the mind. In the great ocean is diluted, consciousness spreading terrifyingly. It's a river, it's sea, and much more than all that. All that depth is terribly divine, oceans without shores. The gods are just waves of light among the deep ocean of that doesn't have name. The superlative consciousness of the ser spreads, expands frighteningly, and senses that at last must be lost in something even deeper. If the ego didn't exist, every possibility of terror would be more than impossible. Unfortunately, the ego still exists and fears Buddhist annihilation. It is precisely the myself who transmits his perfidious vibration to consciousness ser superlative. Then the mystic exclaims, and I, then, what will become of me? It is feared that the mystic ceases to exist. Is horrified. Knows that you have to get lost in the totality. This is how you lose satori, ecstasy, shoddy, and you return to the inside of my itself. How few successfully resist the Sunyata Buddhista. In reality, tality is far beyond the universe of relativity. Unquestionably the tality is also far beyond the void illuminator. The universal machinery of relativity and its opposite, the illuminating vacuum, are just the opposites of that it is and yet it's not. Tality is the synthesis of those opposites, that which exists beyond all possible existence. Undoubtedly what exists beyond any possible existence is really that's absolutely not for the mind. The illuminating vacuum is only the hall of wisdom, you know that. Whoever writes experienced the illuminating vacuum for 3 consecutive times, now it blinks because. Visit www.facebook.com/gnosiswisdom. Essence and personality. The essence submerged among the illuminating vacuum experiences what no one experiences. Submerged the drop among the great ocean of light, perceives what people never perceived. What's real to essence doesn't interest people. In the illuminating vacuum the essence perceives and transmits. What essence perceives reaches the human personality. In those moments the emotional and motor centers come to the intellectual center. The mystical experiences of essence, during ecstasy, when received by the intellectual center, also inform the emotional and motor centers. This is due to the integration of the three centers during the profound ecstasy. Profound meditation, thanks to all these psychic processes, when ecstasy concludes and essence goes back into the body, you don't miss the memories of that we experienced in the absence of myself. In fact, what essence experiences in the absence of self is the happiness of what it isn't and yet it is. This great one of fullness, then we move beyond time and that no one understands. Feeling poor but enlightened for something that subjective reason ignores. Feeling that it's not feeling but it's feeling. A terribly deep feeling, in that no one understands. Feeling of the feeling turned into concrete facts but unknown to reasoning, merely subjective. Light in the light, intelligence far beyond all possible intelligence. A matter of only to understand the Dharmakayas. Blessed are those who possess the glorious body of the Dharmakayas. Those beings perfect move exactly beyond good and evil. Blessed creatures those who, dressed in the essence of being body, dwell in the geometric zone between the universe of relativity and the illuminating vacuum. Written is in the Book of Life, which the Dharmakayas of the Great Law have to go through the state of Sambhogakaya. Those who move in all regions of the universe, before their final liberation, are blissful with the body of enjoyment, the wonderful vehicle of Sambhogakaya. Undoubtedly, before we receive the goal of the universe, we must settle accounts with the treasury a little beyond Eon 13, you know that. Dharmakayas with the essence body or body law, after fixing treasury, dives into the illuminator vacuum and subsequently enters tality. Book, The Science of Meditation. From Samuel Unweir. Visit www.facebook.com/gnosiswisdom.